Hey guys, I want to thank you once again from the bottom of my heart for purchasing the Paradigm Shift. This is a move I've been working on for close to 3 years now, and it's one of my favorite controls in my repertoire, mostly because it's a cover pass that solves a lot of the problems that the Classic Pass presents, including angle issues, timing, and misdirection. So originally, it was first shown to me, or at least a variation of it, was first shown to me by a very dear friend of mine, Edward Hammond. And he showed to me a pass that is present in the Reflection DVD by Bill Goodwin. And it's a very interesting version of this shift that essentially became the Paradigm Shift eventually. And Tony Chang showed me a very similar thing as well. But they still had a lot of problems that I believe the ideas in psychology and technique, and mostly choreography, in this shift solve. So anyway, I hope that you have a lot of fun doing it and learning it, because there are a lot of really interesting applications for it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk for a real quick second about why I came up with this move in the first place. It's to solve a couple problems that I have with the Classic Pass, as I mentioned earlier. So I published an essay, as well as the explanation for this sleight, in an underground magazine. There are only 30 copies, called Holdout, issue 4 of Clubs, #1. And I talk in this essay about why I don't think that the Classic Pass is a good move, because it's basically a my dick is bigger than yours contest among magicians. Really is. It's a great move if you perform it at the right time. But I believe that the way that the Classic Pass works, it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to perform it at the right time without having like Xavier Spade's speed and smoothness. It's really hard to do. And I do a good Classic Pass. I'm not going to lie. My Classic Pass is good. Is it the best one? Absolutely not. The dude who does the best is right here. The point is I wanted to come up with a different way to do the pass, where the covering action is the shift. Think about classic passes that you know. Riffle pass, dribble pass, jiggle pass. With the commonality with all of these is that the pass occurs and then the covering action happens, right? So they're two separate actions. Whereas I believe the most perfect pass, as far as classic style or Herman style passes are concerned, is the Lapal's spread pass. Because the closing of the spread is the pass, right? Once you have the card selected and put back into the spread, I need to do this in order to go on with the trick, right? Once the card is here, otherwise I know where it is, right? I need to do this. I need to close the spread in order to move on. And therefore, it's a perfect pass, because the closing of the spread is the shift. When I do the Paradigm Shift, I'm here, right? That's their card. They're hyper aware that I know exactly where their card is. I need to do this in order to go on with the effect. And so this is the pass. So that's the reason why I developed it in the first place. So now that you know that, let's get into some of the applications. So I have this little die available, which is going to help me randomize. You can see it all. So it's different numbers. There's 1, there's 3. So it's going to help me determine where I control the card, just to show you how versatile the move is. So there's 3. So we'll say stop. Out here, 7 of spades, more or less halfway in the center. Yeah. And then there's 1, 2, 3. We'll do it one more time, just because. So boom. 6. Why not? So it's somewhere in the deck. There it is, 9 of diamonds, somewhere in the middle of the center. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Hadouken. Oh wait, it's 6. There it is. Yay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. All right, so obviously not a performance, just a pure, blunt explanation of the move. Get rid of that guy. But you see how versatile it is now, so let's get into how it actually works. So what you're going to need to be familiar with is something I refer to as a Bert and Ernie break. So if you're familiar with Sesame Street, or Avenue Q, mostly Sesame Street, then you'll know what Bert is, you know, Bert and Ernie. So it's basically a hybrid between Erdnase and a Verdnase break. So Bert Allerton did a lot of stuff with the Verdnase break, so that's why I call it Bert, and then Ernie, Erdnase. Yeah. So an Erdnase break is basically a front break with the right pinky. So you have a break here between this top card and the rest of the deck. It goes like this. In my opinion, and in many professionals' opinions, this is the one of the best breaks of all time, because it has no bad angle. Literally any angle except for directly beneath. So, and then a Verdnase break is clipped right here between the base of the ring and pinky fingers. Now, interesting thing about the Erdnase break is it doesn't appear anywhere in the expert at the card table, so I don't know why we call it that, but whatever. Anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to get into what I call a Bert and Ernie break, which is a break between the top right corner of a card on the second joint of your pinky and wherever that falls on your ring finger. So it's a little bit higher than a Verdonez break, right? It's not really an original thing, it's just a funny little name. So it's right there, yeah, clipped, okay? And you're gonna need to use this position for the paradigm shift no matter what, okay? So you're gonna need a break below however many cards you want to be on top of the selection once you control it. So for this example, we'll just use 1. So you get a break however you want. Pinky count with 1 card is a little overzealous, but you know, whatever. You get your break under 1 card, and you're going to do this thing, it's old as time. Take your thumb, it gets placed on the bottom right corner, right here onto the break, and you'll see that's going to instantly pop this front section up like that. Okay, that's obviously very exaggerated. So what it's essentially going to look like is you just take the deck into your right hand. What that also allows you to do is grab a break. So you have your break under 1 card. Okay, you push down with your thumb as you grab the deck. I'm going to expose this. It's going to pull up over here. This is covered, and you're going to slip it right there into that gap. So it's going to look like this. And now I have the card clipped there. Okay. So one more time. Just boom. I'll do this from underneath. Boom, and then the pinky slides in. And then you grab the deck like this. So now the top card, or cards, are going to be bowed slightly up at the front edge. Okay? And those are going to be in your pinky like so. So you get this little break right there. You're going to have them put their selection back. So in this case, we're going to do the Jack of Hearts. And as you turn it face down, you're going to move your right hand to the left, which is going to give you an excuse to come back later. So Jack of Hearts turns back face down. Okay? What you're going to do now is essentially insert this packet into that gap between the top card and the rest of this packet, right here. So you're holding this free, like so. Then your back right thumb is going to kick in, like so. Boom. So you're going to kick in. Your left thumb is going to push down on that packet, and you're going to align the top card with the new top packet of the deck. You're immediately then going to be able to lift up and show the space that the card came from. So I'll do that. I know that was a lot, so I'll do it one more time. Okay. So you have your break once more. Okay. This goes on top of the deck. You put their card back. You turn it over just like so. As you come in diagonally, the left thumb lifts up like so, which is going to allow you to place that corner in here. So this should free float right there. This thumb kicks in. The left thumb pushes down, the right thumb is going to grab that top packet, and you're going to be able to separate like this. Okay? And then now the card is controlled to the second position. For explanation purposes, I'll do this one more time without a cover. So pretend you have the cover card there. Essentially what you're going to do is move in like this. Okay? This corner is going, and I'll move my fingers too. This corner is going to go under here. The back thumb kicks in like this. You let go. This thumb comes down, pushes down on this packet, is going to lever that top packet up, and you come in. Now, in case you're curious, you can actually, and I'll try it right here, you can actually do this as a true pass as well. It does work. I wouldn't really recommend it if they're burning your hands, but it is possible. The other thing is, with the psychology of this, with the slide, obviously, as I've mentioned earlier, you can do this with multiple cards. So if you just have a break beneath 3 cards, so you just pinky count 3, like so, you're going to get the break in the exact same way, do the shift, and then the card will be controlled to the 4th position. Pretty self-explanatory. And you can do this with literally anywhere in the deck. So we'll talk about an A-can later, which I don't really need to talk about because it's pretty self-explanatory. But you can get the card literally anywhere you want in the pack. Alright, so now let's get back to serious mode, and we'll talk about some of the psychology and choreography for how to actually perform this sleight in the real world, which I do all the time. It's one of my favorite controls. And there's a couple reasons why. Is because it's a cover pass, so it gives you a lot of interesting opportunities if you're doing ambitious card, let's say. you can get the card immediately second from the top. So you have an opportunity to do a double lift right afterwards to get it to come to the top, and then you have a very clean insertion of the card afterwards to get it to come back to the top by the spectator. As a result, if your ambitious card routine requires you to control the card to the third position, which a lot of them do, you're then set up for a triple. I mean, why not? You can have a cover under 2 cards. That option is available for you. Other ideas, because you're controlling it obviously second from the top, you can show that it's not on bottom or on top as well. Very clean, because some people do suspect. They really shouldn't, because if you've done a clean control like this, they're not going to suspect. But if they do, you can very well show them if you want to. Another idea is the choreography for what is left in their mind. If you're familiar with Gabi Pereiras, you know his whole theory on the waiter's memory, right? What image are you leaving the spectator at the end of an effect? This is kind of taking that theory and applying it to a sleight. What image are they left with when they see that their card is inserted into the center of the deck, right? Do you want an image like this where you say, here, put your card back in the deck, right? And then you do a classic pass. That was not a classic pass, by the way. That's my impression of a bad classic pass. Xavier knows what I'm talking about. His pass is godly. But do you want the impression of, boom, I had complete control over it, or at the end, which is what is offered with the paradigm shift, you can get this, you go, here, somewhere in the deck. You put it down like this. Right? Or if you want to, you just put that down on the table. The image, essentially, of what they're left with is that. Right? Very, very clean image. Right? And the card's already controlled, so you're way, way ahead. So how do we get that image? So what you're going to want to do is use our little friend known as misdirection. So you have your break, you get ready to do the shift, and because the camera doesn't move the way that a human works, you're going to have to just trust me on this. So what they're going to do is, as they put their card back, they're going to leave it right here, you're going to turn it face down in preparation for the shift, but you're going to say, you sure you don't want a different card? As you say that, every time. If anybody ever, if any of you thinks otherwise, feel free to message me, because 100% of the time, if you perform for people you know, you ask them, are you sure you want that card? You can change if you want. Boom, they look up at you and say, no, I'm good, because they have manners. They're human beings. So you're going to come down. So they're going to look up at you. Right? When you say, you sure you want that card? You can change if you want. At that moment, they look up at you. You execute the shift. So now you're here. Right? You're in this position. And you're going to keep your hands as far apart as possible now. Or if you want to, you can change. They say no. You go, OK. Take the cards. Boom. And you're done now. Right? So the idea is that you're leaving them with this image of you having zero control over the deck of cards. Because at that point, you're not holding a break. You don't need one. Right? You're done already. And you've executed the shift at the moment, split second, they looked up at you. So please do keep in mind, you can perform it burnable, but it's better if you don't. Because the way that it works, as they look up at you, you don't want this big motion of you coming over. You don't need it, right? You just put the hands together, and you're literally not even going to kick. You're just going to drop this packet and pick this one up. Right? It's very, very small motion. So now you're still in this position when they look back down, and you just coalesce. Very clean. So again, it's a slight variation. I'll do it one more time. So you have your break. Right? You have the card. And you're literally going to insert it right here and just drop and pick up in the same hand. This thumb does nothing. Right? So there's very, very little motion. And you just come back. You're very clean. Another option that you have available, if you so choose, is to say if they want to burn the card, if you want them to burn the card and know that it's directly in the center, you say the Queen of Clubs, leave that about halfway in the middle. And it's there, and it's already second from the top. So what's really cool about this move, and this is what I got from Bill Goodwin's shift in Mirage, is that it naturally, if you don't pick up, which I like to, but naturally if you don't pick up the top packet, you're going to get that nice step. It's going to happen automatically. Just try it. It's going to happen automatically. You're going to get this little step, which there's zero way. I mean, when you see it being done, there's zero way that that's not the card. When I first saw Bill Goodwin's version, I was like, well, that's great. And his ends up like here. There's zero way that's not the card, and yet it's already been controlled. So anyway, so that's options available to you. Other than that, have fun with it, play with it, make it your own. This move is meant to be customized because there are just so many options available to you. So please do take a note of that. And yeah, I hope to see all of your variations to come. All right, so let's get into one of the weirder handlings that you can do with this paradigm shift, but it's still interesting, and I think that it's meritable on here. So anyway, here's what you do. This is a color change. I invented it as a joke, but some people thought it was cool, so here it is. So essentially, you're going to have a card selected, and you're going to control it second from the top, reversed. There are a lot of different ways to do this. I will teach you. We actually didn't plan this at all, but we'll teach here my Professor Zoom control. It's basically a streamlined handling of Simon Aronson's head over heels control, because I didn't like the cut deeper force idea. I mean, it's not a cut deeper force, but it has like a cut again and flip, and we'll take the first face down card. I don't like that. So here's what it looks like. So they take a card, let's say the 9 of spades, right? We'll leave it right there. I want you to see, you could have literally had any of these cards, right? Or any of these, but you chose that one right there. Leave it there in the middle of the deck, and it's second from the top reversed. Boom. Really, really simple. So the idea is essentially it's a lay reverse. You go through, you flip their card face up, and you're going to place it onto the top spread aligned with the bottom card of the spread. So you have this face-to-face double right here. So this comes together. You're going to turn this whole packet over. Everything is as it should be right now. And you're going to place it back onto the spread and keep a break beneath that double. So now I have their card on top of a face-up indifferent card. I'm going to take this spread now, flip everything face up, and immediately spread over, keeping a block on the bottom, reaching into the break to take that double along with this top spread. So now I have that double on top of the spread. It's aligned, and I can say, you could have taken any of these cards and any of these as well. Literally any card in the deck, right? They think their card is here still. I'm then just going to flip everything back over, and their card is face up, second from the top. So I'll show you one more time. Take a card, place it right here. Could have been any of these cards, right? You literally could have had any of the cards in general, but you pick that one, that's fine with me. And it's here, face up. So really simple, Professor Zoom control. It's a reverse flash for those of you references, for DC references, you like this. Anyway, so you control the card face up, second from the top, and you have a break above, beneath it. I'm sorry, you have a break above that card, you have a break beneath the top card. Cool. Get a break the same way, you're going to say stop. This is not their card. You're going to do, essentially now, you're basically going to do the paradigm shift with a little bit of dressing on top of it. So you're going to wave back and forth like so. And at some point, you're going to execute the shift. So this goes in, come down, pick this up, etc. Right? But you don't backspread as much. And it's now changed, and you can show like this, basically, and then the changed card goes second from the top. It's pretty self-explanatory. But there's some interesting ideas that you can do to hide it. So after you do the change, if you want to, so you change the card, you're here, you do a little bit of wave, you change the card, yeah? What you can do is then steal the bottom card of this packet back onto the face, so you can show the same card again. This is a little bit of overkill, but you can do that. Or, beforehand, before you do the change, you can execute a Kelly bottom placement as you're waving, and then do the shift, and then it'll be back here. It's a little overkill. Xavier's laughing right now, but it is a thing that you can do if you're worried about that. Don't be worried about that though, because it's not. You're not. Why run when you're not being chased? Right. So this is a fun little idea that I like to use to retain a red-black order. It's a red-black shuffle. It's pretty interesting because it's really only applicable after you've already done an effect in which the color's separated, but you just want to maintain that for some nefarious purposes. Right? So this is what it looks like. You can use the shift as a red-black shuffle. So you can see red cards, and we have black cards. Yeah? And you go to a spectator and you say, here, can you actually mix these together for me? Yeah. Give those a shuffle. So they mix them together. And there are going to be some mistakes, but generally speaking, yeah, see, I have one mistake there. One mistake in the middle. And it's red-black. We'll do that. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to have red-black separated, and explicitly you're going to tell the spectators, all right, we're done with this, let's move on to something else. You're going to go on to another effect. I would not, again, I repeat, I would not reveal the red-black nature of the deck again. You've already done that. Generally speaking, if you've done this, you've just done Out of This World, so don't do it again, because that's a freaking miracle. Right? One of the best effects you can do with playing cards. But what you can do now is you can essentially figure out what card they've selected based on whether or not it's in a red deck or a dudek, what the hell is a dudek? Or a black deck. And, or you can do neither blind nor silly, or you can do Alex Pandrea's thing, which I think is actually Arpa Wilson's thing with the anti-pharaoh, separating the colors again. It's a skill-based thing. You can say we just did this with magic, we'll do the sleight of hand. Lots of different applications. I'll let you be the judge of that, but this is how it works. So you have one of the spreads of colors in your hands, one of them is on the table. You're going to show the black cards, show the red cards on the table, and essentially I'm just splitting them more or less in half here, and I'm going to get a break in between the halves. So you have a break between roughly 13 cards or so, okay, just like so. So you get that break, you're going to transfer it into a Bert and Ernie break again, so kick up, and then you get this break up here. Don't be afraid, I know there are a lot of cards in there, you're fine. Pick these up in your left hand, turn them face down, and you're going to do the same shift, but instead of lifting the whole packet, you're only going to lift half. Okay? So basically a Charlier cut right there. This corner goes into the gap that you've created. Sorry, it's really hard to do slow. Goes into the gap that you've created up here. I'm going to try to expose it for you. Can you see that? All right. Goes into the gap up there. You're going to, instead of kicking forward, you're going to kick forward and drop as your ring finger right here makes contact with the Charlier packet. So your ring finger, right ring finger, contacts this. You drop the packet. Right? So now you have only this packet left over, and your left thumb's going to come to the rescue, kick up, and allow you to retain this packet. So it's not going to be exact, but now you can have them do it. You can do it like a Rosetta Shuffle, Leonard Green style. You can do a riffle shuffle. It doesn't matter, as long as they're shuffled in this way. And there are going to be some mistakes, because there always are in a red-black shuffle of this type. But here, for example, I only have one, and it's right there. And then you still have red-black for the most part. So you can deal with the top or the bottom, and you are good to go for your purposes that you're using this red-black separated deck for. Have fun. So this is an interesting idea, using mnemonica combined with the paradigm shift to do an any card at any number. Now, it's not a true ACAN. They can't name a card like they can when you're usually doing a mnemonica any card at any number, but it gives you an interesting alternative as far as effect is concerned, because instead of the card just happening to be at that position, you end up placing it clearly not at that position, and then it goes to that position via some magical effect, right? So it's a different kind of effect. It's not the card, the spectator naming the card that is at a specific number that they also name. It's instead the card transporting itself to the number that they name, right? So again, you do need to be in stack, so you can see this. I personally use mnemonica, but I also do Aronson's Shadow Stack, a lot of different stuff. But mnemonica is my personal favorite, just because you have the option for new deck order. So that's 4 of clubs through 9 of diamonds, and like, if you're not familiar with Memdeck, why are you watching this? You should definitely buy some of Woody's stuff that is also on Lost Arts website, because Memdeck material is power. So you know, basically, if you're not familiar, you know where every card is. You know the exact order of the cards. So for example, I know that this is now 28 cards that I just cut. Anyway, so the way that this allows you to perform this minor miracle is you have them pick a card. You're hyper aware that that card is missing. So for example, I know that this is 31, right? And they name a number between 1 and 52. It really doesn't matter which number they name. It's obviously easier for the shift if you do less, if it's a lower number, but if they name a higher number, fine. To remedy this, if you're worried, you can say name a number 1 to 52, but I don't want to be here all day. It's going to be a really long trick otherwise. You know, it's just a funny little thing. They'll name a number up to 25 generally. If you want them to name somewhere in the mid-20s, say name a number up to 30. They're going to name boom mid-20s, 100%. So basically, they pick a card from the center. Let's go with this one. So I know that that's number 31, and I'm going to be hyper aware that if they name a number above 31, I'm going to have to count an extra card. So let's say that they name a low number via the sequence that I just described. So let's say they name number 17, right? So I'm going to do an estimated cut. I happen to cut 13, so that's way less. But I'm going to go here. So now I have 16, which is perfect, because I need to get this card into the 17th position. So I'm going to get a break below all of these cards, right? Do the same sequence. So this comes up. I get my break in here. It's going to be very thick, but you're going to be able to hide it because it goes into the web of the finger anyway. So it's totally fine. You shouldn't be able to see it. And you're going to do the shift, which I'll do very slowly. But you're going to say very explicitly, that's way more than 17 cards. 100%. It's not going there. So you're going to come here. This goes in here. You do the shift again, and you come in, which is really cool because you have generally the same amount of cards there. Right? So you say way more than 17 cards, right? Dribble down, riffle, and now it's at position 17, which I cut straight to. So pretty much, it's an interesting card at any number. I would still say do the one in mnemonica, but you have the option to do this one as well if you want a sort of different style of effect. So. Right, so this is a really fun little transposition using the paradigm shift that I like to call stock exchange. So you've just seen the performance. It's pretty cool. I came up with this a while ago based on the original Mirage trick by Bill Goodwin, which is what this whole shift is based on. So you're going to need to produce a 4 of a kind, or just take them out of the deck. You could use, I don't know, shuriken, whatever. So you produce 4 cards, and you're going to place them on the face of the deck, like so. As you're displaying them, you're also going to spread over an additional 3 cards, and they're indifferent cards. It doesn't matter, whatever cards are at the face, we're going to go with those 3, and you're going to get a break beneath them. So now in total, you're going to have a break beneath 7 cards. As you collect the spread, you're going to jog the bottom king inwards just a little bit, and then collect everything above it. This is so that when you turn those 7 cards over as 4, you're going to get this little step back here. Okay? That's going to allow you to easily push down, getting a break beneath 3 cards. Okay? Those are the indifferent cards right here. So you have a break there, and whenever you're ready, you're going to go in, transferring the break for the paradigm shift as per usual. So you get that. You're going to have a card selected now via dribble. Show the card, turn it face down, and execute the paradigm shift. And if the top few cards spread, that's okay. In fact, it's actually welcome because it solidifies the fact in their mind that there are multiple cards up here and 1 here. As long as this card doesn't spread, you're good. So, position check. What you have now is you have 4 cards in the center, which are the 4 kings, and you have 4 cards on top, which are the 3 indifferent cards with the selection underneath. Okay? They think you have 1 in the middle and 4 kings on top. The effect is pretty much done at this point. What you're going to do is now spread over these 4 cards, reminding them that they are the 4 kings, and spread over an additional 1 card. And it's kind of interesting to leave these 4 cards a little bit side jogged so they get a glimpse of the face, not necessarily remembering it, but just remembering that it's there, because it's going to be the same after you change. So it's kind of interesting. Kind of has a little retention of vision type thing going on. So you have a break beneath 5 cards. This card you have a break beneath. You square up and immediately start to peel off, but you don't want to flash this face because it's going to be different. I got lucky here and they happen to be pseudo duplicates, but you don't usually have that. So you're going to immediately peel 1 off, square with the deck, and then you don't need to keep a break. 2, 3, and the 4th is a double. So you have this right here. Yeah. So you have the 4th double on top, and you're going to square everything as slowly as possible, and immediately once they're square, start peeling back that top card. And you're going to get this really nice visual, not necessarily change, but vanish of 3 cards. When you reveal that it's their selection, it becomes 4 cards. You're going to get a reaction here. Turn it over on top. Make sure you block push off so that you don't get this, these face down cards. Block push off, and you go to the center, revealing not 1, but 4 cards, 4 kings. So that is a little effect I like to call stock exchange. After this, what you can then do is get a break beneath the face-up cards. There's going to be a natural break there. And you can cut these via double undercut or whatever you want to the top. Okay? And once they've finished examining the kings, you can place those there as well. And now you have a break beneath 7 cards. So what you can do here is a very, very clean multiple card control of 4 kings, which are actually indifferent cards. Okay? The 4th one you're going to place somewhere near the top within that group of 4. Okay? Spreading over, and now you have the 4 cards controlled. Do whatever you want. Personally, I do Marlowe's Miracle Ace Cutting routine, but you can do whatever you want. You have a lot of freedom here. So that's stock exchange. So if you think about it, you can do stock exchange with just 2 cards as well. Although I tend not to perform it as much, but it is there and I want to include it for completion's sake. So they say stop at a card. Let's say it's the 2 of clubs. You're going to get a break beneath it and the card beneath it, whatever it happens to be. And you're going to turn those over as a double. Okay, so now you have 2 cards here. you're going to get a break beneath the card on top, so you can just push over, but I wouldn't do that because you have this, so it's risk kill if you do that, or pinky count, it's up to you. And go into the paradigm shift the same way. So now you have that card clipped in burden or in break. So you have a second card selected via dribble, turn that face down as well, execute the paradigm shift in the same way, so this goes in, right? Now you want to make sure that this is square. You don't want to spread this because it's supposed to only be one card. Now you have, whatever, the 4 on top, the queen in the center, or the 2 on top, the queen in the center. Except it's already changed, as you can see, the 2 is in the center and the queen is second from the top. So the way to clean this up is you just turn a double, and you're now clean. You just spread to the center, and the 2 cards are transposed. So, interesting idea, hope you make some use of it.
I'm always one step behind, wishing I could read your mind, but I'm ready.
Once again, I want to thank you guys so much for purchasing the Paradigm Shift. It means a lot to me that you'd watch all my ridiculous shenanigans and even enjoy and want to learn my sleights. So it really does mean a lot to me, and to the group that is Lost Art as a whole. I think I can speak for all of them, Xavier, Wei, Eric. I mean, I'm doing this project because I love those guys, right? They're amazing people, and they put in the utmost. They put in all of the work that they possibly can to produce the best available products on the market. So thank you guys so much for supporting them, and me as a whole. It means a ton. So anyways, I want to thank a couple other people. We have Edward Hammond, without whom I would not have been able to come up with this move in the first place. We got Xavier Spade, who helped me at, was it Magi Fest? It was Magi Fest last year, to put a little bit of refinement on this move. Bill Goodwin, obviously, for creating the whole thing. And generally speaking, people who have done the pass for a long time, because otherwise, if those people hadn't developed the pass, this wouldn't have led me to develop the sleight in general. So thank you guys so much. Once again, I want to thank you as the viewer for purchasing this product and supporting me in my magical career. And I hope you have a lot of fun practicing and performing this sleight, because it is, like I said, very, very useful in the real world. So have fun, practice, practice, practice. Remember, practice does not make perfect, practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect, so do your best to practice perfectly. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna get out of here. You have a good one.